Good afternoon, it's Dave the Urban Survivalist. I hope you're well today. Here we are rocking the black and white filter, and today we're going to be talking about new preppers, giving you some information on the basic minimal that you need to prepare to start your prepping journey. Okay, today these are my top 7 items or categories of the kind of minimum stuff you need to prepare. Now before we start, it's important not to live in fear. In the world of fear, in this prepper world, there's so much fear being pushed. A lot of the big channels promote that we're going to get nuked. If that was true, we would have been nuked 14 times in the last year. So what I'm saying is, don't buy into the fear. My prepper tip number 1, do not buy into the fear. It should be a safety net, not overtake your life and become an obsession. Anyway, let's start. Okay, so these are in no particular order. I've kind of done them from kind of most important to like less important, but no particular order in general. Right, okay, so the first one we got is water. Okay, so let's look at the basics that we need, and water is the most essential thing we need. So now if we're going to start with water storage, I would say you need to store 3 litres per person per day. Now, if you work that as 21 litres per person per week, now this takes up a lot of space. For instance, a family of 3 will need 63 litres of water stored a week, approximately. So bear that in mind. Obviously you can survive on less, but this is the ideal amount for comfort, or even more. If you can store it and you've got the room, store it, all good, okay? Now I also recommend getting water filtration devices, because the same as with anything, you've only got a limited supply. If you've stored water, you've got a limited supply. So we need other ways to procure and purify our water. So start looking at things like gravity water systems, soya water filters, water to go, things like that. And also, if you can, set up a basic rain collection system so you have an extended plan for water collection. Now this is really easy. You just get a normal water butt and you link it to the guttering on the roof. And then, obviously, it's not food safe. These water butts are not food safe. So you will have to filter it once it comes out of there. But bear that in mind. So water, storage and collection. Now, number 2, my favourite thing in the world is food. Now, you can have a look at my other videos for long shelf life foods and stuff like that. But we're going to give you some basic examples here without going into too much detail. So, as a new beginner prepper, I would store foods like flour, pasta, rice. Now, freeze-dried egg, freeze-dried milk and freeze-dried potato, also really good staples. Store some tinned meat that you enjoy. Herbs, spices and passata. Passata is like that tomato puree that they use in pizzas and spaghetti bolognese and stuff like that. Do not get it in tins and do not get it in the cardboard boxes. Get it in the glass bottles. It stores for much longer because the acidity in the tins, it spoils much sooner. Okay, and also get some dried fruit, some dehydrated fruit. Whether you dehydrate that yourself, that's something we'll go in at a later date. Okay, so this will give you basic nutrients. Again, it's not great, but it'll give you basic nutrients across the board to keep you going in an emergency. But as I said so many times, and I will say this on every subject, learn a skill. Have a backup plan. So learn to grow your own food, learn to preserve your own food, learn to forage your own food, learn to fish, hunt. Again, have a backup way to procure food apart from storing it. Now, number 3 is basic hygiene essentials. In any shit hits the fan situation, hygiene is so important. Bacterial and viral disease, uncleanliness would be rife. Look at storing at least the basics. Toilet roll, baby wipes, bleach, disinfectant, antiseptic wipes, waste bags, you know, like those poo bags, ladies' feminine products, toothpaste, shampoo, deodorant, soap, cotton buds and cotton wool pads. If you have young children, don't forget things like extra nappies, Sudocrem, Vaseline, all these things, okay? Cleanliness is your first step towards avoiding infection. As in a shit hits the fan situation, infection could be a matter of life or death. Which brings us to number 4, medication and first aid. Now I would consider storing a complete basic first aid kit. You know, these will come with everything from eye wash bandages to plasters to steri strips, all sorts of stuff like that. But also get yourself a tourniquet in case of an emergency. Also consider hydrogen peroxide, colloidal silver, pseudo cream, and definitely a set of tweezers and nail clippers. Also get some pain relief, whether that's paracetamol or anything stronger. Antihistamine tablets and cream, antibiotics if you can get them, and anti-inflammatory medication. Again, remember, if you have small children, things that will help the baby like Calpol, Nurofen, Bonjela, all these type of things. If you've got small children, store the necessities to keep them safe. Now, number 5 is trade and barter items. Now, this is a lot of things people don't think about, but when they're starting prepping. After talking to a guy in Serbia, after what went on with the troubles there over in the past, trade and barter items were really important, and things like gold and precious metals, surprisingly, were not top of the list. Things like matches and toothpaste and lighters and things that we use every day and the things that we take for granted were really important. Now, as I said, precious metals were not as important, but they're still good to have. But I would limit it to a small amount of either silver or gold, a few gold coins or like a few silver coins, whatever you can afford. I wouldn't start spending thousands of pounds trying to stock silver and gold for prepping. You'd be better off buying toothpaste. More important on the list were things like alcohol, tobacco, spices, medication, all highly tradable items. But anything is tradable if someone needs it enough. So a word of advice, think about the little things that you can't really do without, and what you would do and what you would trade to get them in a shit hits the fan situation. It's worth thinking about. Trade and barter items. Now, number 6, a way to cook. Now, if we have power cuts or a shit hits the fan situation, then there's power grid down. A gas stove with portable canisters is a great backup. Look at those cheap camping stoves. Check out a video I did on this a little while ago for the best stove that I think in a shit hits the fan situation. Now, these things are cheap and they're also less obvious to people. If we have a power down and there's lots of panic and people are like robbing each other and stuff, rather than cooking outside on a rocket stove or barbecue with all the smells and fire, cooking inside is going to limit the amount of smell that's going to the outside. Okay? And it's just really compact and it can be stored away. Okay, I would also consider with this getting a camping kettle to go with it. So when you have the options of cooking food and boiling water. But again, a canister will only last you a couple of days if you're lucky. So make sure you stock up on enough gas canisters, probably for a couple of weeks. Okay, so that is a way to cook. That is my version or my opinion of the easiest way to get a backup cooker. Okay, number 7, last but not least, emergency lighting. Now, emergency lighting, look at torches and lanterns. These are fairly cheap to pick up, and obviously you have to make sure you have enough batteries. Now, if you check out a video I did about lighting your house with budget lanterns, it's really interesting, if I do say so myself. But have a look at that, because the whole thing actually cost me about £20. So have a look into that. All right, I suggest having one torch and one lantern in every main room in your house, and maybe one at the top of the stairs if you've got an upstairs. Now, I learned this the hard way a good few years ago. We had a power cut and we didn't have no emergency lighting at all. So I'm scrambling around with a little torch, okay? So now we have one lantern and one torch in literally every single room in the house. Okay, so that's a bit of advice given on the top 7 things to start your prepping journey. Now, things to consider as a new prepper when obtaining your preps is the size of your family. How many people are in your family? Their ages, all the ages of the people in the house, because different ages need different needs, obviously. Any disabilities, any allergens, any long-term illnesses that need constant medication. So there's a bit of an idea of what the things you need to start your prepping journey. It's not as much as people think, and I'm going to show in future how we can do this on a budget in each department. So one video I'm going to go out, I'm going to spend 20 quid and show you how to light your house with it. Another, food. So we're going to do that in the future. And we could have literally added hundreds of items to this list. But get this, what I've mentioned here, and it will give you a good head start. And then later on, you can think about things like external communications, bug-out bags, etc. You start the journey small and you'll be able to build up without the pressure. And without it becoming so daunting. And it becomes more budget friendly. Well, hopefully this has helped someone somewhere. There's lots coming up at the moment. I'm on a bit of mission at the moment, so I've got loads going on. So we've got the allotment. So lots coming up, allotment updates and how to grow food and other bits and pieces that are coming up. Urbex, as you know, I love my urban exploration, and local knowledge is so important. As a new prepper, something else you need to think about. I want to do some more educational videos on prepping, like Prepper Pantry, how to put a lot of these things together and make decent meals, and some food preservation food preservation tips from the allotment. So I've got lots in the pipeline, so bear with me. I'm trying to find time to fit it all in. Now, it's been emotional. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you soon.